Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, security operatives recover 150 AK-47 rifles after gun battle with suspected terrorists in Minna. Lagos court sentences medical doctor to life imprisonment for rape. Corporate Affairs Commission uncovers 190 fake companies used to secure lands in the FCT. On the foreign scene, French President Macron calls for decisive relaunch of Palestinian peace process. Many thanks for joining us on the News Hour. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Niger State, where it was a chaotic Tuesday morning for residents in Beganu area of Minna, the Niger State capital, as security operatives engaged suspected terrorists in a shootout for several hours. The gun battle reportedly started when security operatives launched an operation on a building belonging to a suspect linked to terrorism in the state. 140 AK-47 rifles, about 3,000 live ammunitions, explosives, a rocket launcher, and an anti-aircraft rifle were recovered from the building. Residents say the operation started at around midnight and lasted for several hours as the suspects engaged security operatives in fierce gun duel before his narrow escape. Well, Abubakar Akote joins us now from Niger State to give us some more insight on this development, his Daily Trust reporter. Abubakar, thank you very much for joining us. We've heard some of your update a little earlier. What more can you tell us about what the security architecture is saying regarding this operation?
Up to this moment, the security architecture on the part of the police in the state and the state government have kept mute over the operation. Effort to reach out to police have also get their reaction have also proved abortive, and the Commissioner for Homeland Security is not also responding to calls. So the situation, both the side, the security operatives and the state government have yet to say anything as regards to the operation.
Do we know more about their pursuit to capture the suspect in question?
Yes, this evening when I went back to the area to see the situation, I was told that the suspect who was still on the run has a second wife, which was also picked this evening by the security. He has a second wife in another house. They say his second house. So I learned that the second wife was also picked as part of effort to get him arrested.
Right. So what can you tell us about this particular building? Was it housing any sort of individuals? And also with regards to the operations, did the operatives meet the resistance from just one person, or were there others involved in the shootout?
The house belongs to the suspect. It's an individual house. The original owner of the house, I was told, sold the house. Maybe when he had some financial issues, so he sold the house, and then the mom bought it and then moved in. But since he moved in, the both community leaders told me that they didn't know much about him, because since he came in, he has never associated with anybody. He didn't allow his wife to even associate with anybody. So they didn't know much about him. But unfortunately, they didn't take time to find out who he was or what he was into.
Right, and Abubakar, we can see the images there of people presumably either looting or moving some of the items from that building. What can you tell us about what the community is making of this development, especially given the cache of arms that have been recovered by the police?
The operation was actually, according to residents, was carried out. It was a joint operation between the DSS and the military. However, When I went there in the morning, police came and then they evacuated some valuables for safekeeping. However, the building that was left by security was vandalized by hoodlums. The roofs the roofing sheets were removed, and any other valuable things that were left in the building were actually vandalized. And the most part of the building were brought down by the hoodlums, not actually demolished by the security. Apart from the night operations that brought down some part of the building with the use of heavy guns, the remaining part were brought down by hoodlums who looted most other things that were left by the security operatives. Although police took some valuable things like cushion and others for safekeeping.
Right. And do we know whether the police has put out a notice for or declaring the individual wanted? What do we know about this particular individual in terms of his name as well as his description?
And no any declaration has been made for now. The only time he was told that the man whose watchman was hit by stray bullet told me this evening that the DSS were actually paying for medical bill, and some of them were at the hospital throughout to watch the boy. And they were actually pleading with the owner of the house, and then they were paying for medical bills as their contribution to cushion the pain of the victim and then the owner of the house.
Abubakar Akote, we're going to have to leave it here for now. Thank you for the update. We appreciate you for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Abubakar Akote, they're just giving us an update on the developments around that security operation that led to the discovery of thousands of cache of ammunitions allegedly linked to a suspected terrorist, which the security operatives are on the trail of right now, who is, as we know, is on the run at the moment. Now, the federal government has reiterated its commitment to provide Nigeria's armed forces with the needed support to enable it protect the lives of Nigerians and Nigeria's territorial integrity. Now, the Minister of Defense, Badura Abubakar, stated this during a visit to the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja.
Since assumption of duty as Ministers of Defense, this is the first visit both the Minister and the Minister of State are paying to the Defense Headquarters. Upon arrival, the Minister of Defense, Badura Abubakar, in the company of Minister of State, Bello Matawale, and other officials from the ministry, inspected the quarter guard. In his remark, the Minister of Defense, who commended the armed forces for their unrelenting fight against insurgency in the country, said the Tinubu-led administration remains committed to providing all the needed support in the fight against insecurity.
We also want to commend you for the efforts toward boosting the morale of the troops in operation areas as you conduct regular visits and other inspirational programs to our forward fighting troops. The ministry will continue to support you in that regard.
Earlier, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, while appreciating the ministers for their enthusiasm towards properly managing the armed forces for effective service delivery, called for more funding, training and capacity building, as well as improved welfare to boost the morale of the military.
Issues of accommodation for personnel, I think that's one important thing. We are yearly recruiting almost 20,000 personnel, both officers and soldiers, on a yearly basis. And the need to make sure that they are properly accommodated cannot be overemphasized.
The CDS, who pledged the support of the military to the present administration, also appealed to stakeholders in the forthcoming off-season elections to make the polls hitch-free.
Now, 2 armed robbery and carjacking suspects have escaped the Katsina's Central Correctional Facility. One of the escapees is being charged with masterminding several robberies and carjacking operations in Katsina, Plateau, and other neighboring states. From Katsina, Abdullahi Amadi tells us more.
One of the escaped suspects, Abakala, was reported to have used his phone while in detention at the correctional facility in Katsina to organize a successful car snatching operation. The Controller of Correctional Services in Katsina, Muhammad Abdulmumin Haruna, confirmed the escape of Abakala and one other, saying investigations are ongoing.
It is a fact 2 inmates have escaped. But out of collaboration and synergy with sister agencies and other stakeholders, we were able to recapture one. But one is still at large. And we hope very soon, by all measures in place and by all hands that are on deck, that one will also be recaptured very soon, God willing.
The question many Katsina residents are asking is how can the 2 suspects sneak out of a well-secured place like prison without detection by security operatives, knowing full the magnitude of their offenses and the dangers their escape poses to the people. There are growing concerns and apprehension in Katsina over the unfortunate disappearance of the 2 dangerous suspects from the correctional facility, even as authorities are reassuring that there is no cause for alarm and one of the escapees has been rearrested.
Once we have an escape, as I've told you, it's something right from the era of this service. There are laid down rules and regulations. So, and at a point when investigations are being on, and prior to the recapture and prosecution of the escapees, we don't discuss details of what has transpired. Because by discussing, it is as if you are going to a war. And now you are revealing your strength, ability, and weaknesses to the opponent.
Rights groups in Katsina are, however, alleging connivance with the officers of the service to free the robbery suspects.
You can't have a prisoner, a criminal of a magnitude to somebody like Abba Kala escape prison just like that. Why should such person be, handled with levity? He had to be monitored thoroughly while he is in the prison. So for him to escape again, then it raises more questions that the prison service, has to explain to the public.
Though residents commend the authorities for briefing the media on the incident, they want security to be beefed up around the facility and thorough investigations into the matter be carried out to prevent repeat of the security breach. Abdullahi Izumay Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
In other news, Justice Rahman Oshodi of the Lagos State Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Court, sitting in Ikeja on Tuesday, sentenced Dr. Olufemi Olaleye, the medical doctor of Optimal Cancer Care Foundation, to life imprisonment for the defilement of his wife's niece. The judge sentenced the medical doctor after he found him guilty of the offence of defilement and sexual penetration of a 15-year-old girl. The court held that the prosecution was able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, adding that all the evidence before the court corroborated that of the victim. The director of public prosecutions, Babajide Martins, had told the court that Olaleye had committed the offences sometime between February of 2020 and November of 2021. Dr. Olaleye was accused of rape of his wife's 15-year-old niece.
This is a judgment that many people did not believe can come to pass because of the high status of the defendants. But today, we saw that justice is not for sale in this country. Today, we saw that the Lagos State government is matching action for its words.
I'm obviously delighted, on behalf of my prosecution team. This is a result of very dedicated prosecution and dedicated judiciary. We are obviously happy about the outcome of this prosecution because it goes a long way. Now, it doesn't mind how highly placed you might be in the society. If you are involved in sexual offenses, there will be a day of reckoning.
When you find that you are in a system that is functional, irrespective of bribery and corruption, because even before this judgment was read out, he was still trying to bribe the girl. He picked her up, sent her mother and herself money, tried to divert and subject the court of justice. It didn't work.
For every girl child in Nigeria who has been sexually violated, and you're thinking, when will I ever get justice? This justice is for you. I applaud the girl child. I want to say thank you to the survivor who spoke out. And we also want to say thank you to the Director of Public Prosecution who provided legal representation for us to be able to get justice.
Now, polio survivors still face stigmatization coupled with other socioeconomic challenges that militate against their growth and development in the society. Some say despite their capacity to contribute to national development, their physical attributes is being used to hold them back in the society. Now, this is part of the message by survivors commemorating this year's World Polio Day in Kaduna. Trust TV's Bello Musa has more.
The day provides an opportunity to highlight global efforts toward a polio-free world and honor the tireless contributions of those on the front lines in the fight to eradicate polio from every corner of the globe. While joining their counterparts the world over to mark the day, these polio survivors are lamenting the challenges they face in the society.
Most of the challenges that person with disability face is mobility. For instance, now accessibility to buildings is the most important, is the most challenging.
I had to squat to her level while interviewing her, but despite her condition, Lami David went to school and is now serving as a co-member. Although her dream is to get a job after her service here, she is, however, entertaining the fear that her condition may be a barrier.
We have a lot of challenges from people outside. Sometimes, in terms of opportunities, they see us as if we are not capable of doing anything. Yes, so they limit us among others.
With the removal of fuel subsidies still is taking toll on Nigerians, with the attendant increase in cost of living, these polio survivors say they are not exempted.
Most especially assistive device. If it is high, a person with disability without, let me say, without working, how will he earn that money? As now that everything is high cost.
Rilwani Muhammad is the Kaduna State Chairman, Association of Polio Survivors of Nigeria. He says only legal backing could end the stigma and other forms of discrimination they face in the society.
Well, one of the key challenges we encounter is discrimination, is accessibility. When I talk of accessibility, it means a lot. Issue of movement, going one place to another, issue of employment, issue of discrimination by the society, even lack of provision from the side of government. These are some of the problems we encounter as a result of the deformity we are having today. That is why generally issue of disability, we advocate for a law that will protect our interests, that will make provision in terms of employment, that will make provision in terms of our livelihood. So these are some of the discrimination we encounter or challenges. And if you talk of discrimination, discrimination is very broad.
Although efforts have been on for years to eradicate the polio virus, but resistance of polio vaccination by parents brings setback in the fight against the disease, according to the head of Social Welfare Disability Board, Kaduna State, Aisha Adamu.
Up till now, in this time and age, people do not believe in vaccines. There is no harm in vaccinating your child. Make sure your child is vaccinated as soon as he is born to avoid these issues of polio. So, and we have issues, especially at the grassroots level, especially those in the LGAs.
Though the future is looking bleak, due to the challenges they face. Their dream, however, is to have a society where they will be given equal opportunities to contribute to the development of the country. But how will that be possible is their main concern. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
On to some of the day's other news. The Nigeria Medical Association has called for an investigation into the quality of medical education offered by foreign universities to Nigerian students to ascertain its utility. The Plateau State Chairman of the NMA, Bapigan Williams, made the call during a press conference marking the 2023 Physicians Week in Jos, the Plateau State capital, warning against lowering the standard for licensing foreign-trained doctors in the country. Ado Musa reports.
This year's Physician Week, with the theme, "This is our chance to get it right in the health sector," focuses on many challenges facing medical doctors in the country, warning government at all levels to take necessary actions to deal with such problems. While calling for a thorough investigation into the quality of medical education offered abroad, the group voiced its support for the umbrella body of Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria to maintain the standard of the profession in the country.
Those that pass the licensing exams are not aliens. If one cannot pass, then one should seek help and try again. We wish to especially call on our beloved National Assembly to resist being used under any guise to compromise the quality of healthcare delivery in Nigeria. If Nigerian trained doctors and dentists are poorly trained, they won't be in high demand worldwide. Our government should immediately investigate the quality of medical education being offered to our children in Ukraine. Let us stand up in defense of the health of the average Nigerian. As the great physician Hutchison said.
The chairman further described the level of insecurity, including kidnapping and banditry, among others, which he described as major causes of brain drain in the country.
The menace of kidnap of doctors and dentists and their relatives have become a daily event to the point of desensitization. The government and our fellow citizens are no longer moved by our plight because all we see is lip service. For us, the saying, "In the midst of life, we are in death," is an existential reality. In fact, in the midst of work, we are in death. We and our relatives have lost our fundamental right of freedom of movement.
The chairman, who lamented the current economic hardship that has negatively affected their members, also hoped that the government will not wait for another round of agitation before implementing what has been circularized since July 2023. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
4 governors of southwest states in Nigeria on Tuesday met with the ailing governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, at his private residence in Ibadan. Governor Akeredolu has been recuperating in Ibadan since his return back to the country from a medical trip to Germany. The governors who visited their counterpart include Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, and Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji. Governor Akeredolu and his deputy Lucky Ayedatiwa have been at loggerheads since the return of the governor from his medical trip abroad. The State House of Assembly has been making moves to impeach the deputy governor, prompting the APC's national chairman Abdullahi Ganduje to wade into the matter. Members of the opposition PDP in the state and civil society organizations have demanded the resignation of Governor Akeredolu on account of his ill health. Movement around Wuse Zone 3 in Abuja has been disrupted significantly after a water leakage caused a sinkhole, disrupting activities for residents and businesses in the area. The 3-month-old incident has greatly inconvenienced motorists as the road remains barricaded to prevent further damage to the structure.
4 government agencies, namely Headquarters of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, Federal Character Commission, National Identity Management System, NIMS, FCT Headquarters, as well as the Nigeria Customs Service Headquarters, are said to be affected by the incident. Some residents are worried how the ditch keeps expanding, wondering why the repair work or the site has been delayed despite its critical nature and attendant consequences.
It's
almost 4 to 5 months now. But what they do, they just come and block the road, and they don't care to come and fix the place in order. You can see how the place it ticks, and this thing affect the pipe that supply water to many offices and the houses around here.
Emmanuel Abraham, an agent with the NIMS who operate a business center nearby, explained how the situation is affecting them.
So we are hoping they should come and fix the road for us so that there can be free car movement. Here we have road safety officer, we have federal character, but car can no longer pass as supposed to be. And the road has been blocked for so long. Trust
TV also spoke to some residents and civil servants around the neighborhood who observed that there was water supply interruption since the incident happened sometime in August. Innocent Gata, who is one of them, narrates how the development is affecting them.
You know, getting to 3 to 4 months now since the accident happened there. So we are having water problems here. Actually, there is water before, but since this thing happened, we don't normally have water.
An anonymous resident working at one of the buildings expressed fear about escalation of the erosion towards their site.
I believe they have come and checked the place. The FCT government, maybe they have checked the place. And apart from the road, this thing now, nobody can drive around here. You can see the road is blocked from the back and the front.
Contacted the acting general manager, FCT Water Board, Daniel Salka, said following the incident, the FCT Water Board has done its part of work by shutting down water supply through the pipe, adding that a letter was also written to the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, that is expected to do the civil work.
Nigeria's current economic climate remains the #1 talking point across the country as inflation and low purchasing power worsens living conditions despite government's interventions. In Benue State, residents say the government's approach to cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy removal is inadequate, as many are unable to make ends meet. Trust TV's Jimmy Azande tells us more.
While the government claims to be working on strategies, the masses are going through difficult times. They are not confident about what the government can offer because of antecedents of the social investment programs in the past.
Now, what happens in Nigeria is that each time there is an attempt to provide palliatives, the problem with it is that the first thing, government spends more in implementing the distribution of the palliatives than the actual value of the palliatives themselves. So the chunk of the cost of providing these palliatives is more than the value of the palliatives that is usually provided. So that is the fundamental problem with the issue of palliatives in Nigeria. And sometimes government choose what the people do not even need. And even when they choose what the people need, the quantity that gets to the people is insignificant to make any significant effect in the lives of those for whom the palliatives are provided. So I think that government needs to sometimes look at peculiarities of people in the different communities.
Sure P, COVID-19, flood disaster palliatives and other social investment programs in the past were marred with corruption.
Some people will apply for this palliative and be expecting it to never reach to them, to be only on paper or on social media that the story of palliative will be said. For instance, somebody in the interior village, particularly in interior land, who are interior villages, who have never known or heard anything palliative, have never enjoyed, but most people who are privileged in the government always say that it has already been distributed, and in real sense, they are not there. Nobody will tell you that he has enjoyed it or not. And one thing I want to advise the government is that the issue of palliative is not bad, but it is said that for you to give one a fish, you better make one to be catching the fish himself.
The residents agree that the intervention should be targeted towards peculiar needs of the people.
That money can be channeled towards buying fertilizers and then empowering the youth in relation to agric, and also bringing much more farm inputs for people. And also another aspect is we have IDP camps where people are residents there, are there, especially for Benue. They are just being there and not located back to their own ancestral homes.
The living condition of many residents of Benue is pathetic, and it gets tougher every day with rising PMS prices and inflation in Nigeria. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Well, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we take a look at the battle between Plateau and Borno State governments over trained coaches. More on this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
If you desire to fulfill your Hajj obligation but cannot afford to pay at a go, you need not to worry anymore. Jaiz Bank PLC, in collaboration with National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACAN, and the State Pilgrims Welfare Boards have jointly introduced Hajj Savings Scheme to help you fulfill your wish. Whether you're a cattle rearer, a farmer, a petty trader, or a parent who wishes to start saving for their children and be getting profit at the same time, this scheme is for you. Visit any of the Jaiz Bank branches or Hajj Commission offices nearest to you to enroll, or go to www.hajsavings.jaizbankplc.com to register. For further information, contact info@jaizbankplc.com or call the number 070-077-30000.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy Operations Fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify. But
there are people who say not spending money is not about you.
I'm coming. Let me finish.
But there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back to the news. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. Security operatives recover 150 AK-47 rifles after gun battle with suspected terrorists in Minna. Lagos court sentences medical doctor to life imprisonment for rape. Now, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has urged pilgrim welfare boards across the country to remit funds collected from intended programs by December or risk reduction of seats allocated. In a statement on Tuesday, NACON's Deputy Director of Information and Publications, Musa Ubandawaki, says states need to expeditiously remit a reasonable percentage of funds in order to secure the slots allocated to their respective states. Ubandawaki says a letter addressed to the chief executives of boards by the Director of Finance and Accounts of NACON, Salihu Usman, stated that the call became necessary due to the timeline issued by Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Hajj and Umrah, which makes it mandatory for every Hajj mission that intends to participate in next year's Hajj exercise to remit their monies before a certain period. Usman stated that failure to comply with the directive would be interpreted as being unprepared or not interested in participating in the 2024 Hajj exercise. He pointed out that it was important that the Commission's accounts needs to be adequately funded by December this year so the Commission can make payments to the Saudi authorities. Domestic flight operations have resumed at the Kaduna International Airport after over 5 months since flights were suspended by commercial airlines over security concerns. A commercial passenger plane from Lagos landed at the airport amidst tight security to signal resumption of flight operations in Kaduna. The manager of the Kaduna International Airport, Adamu Sheikh, declared the airport safe and secure for both passengers and airlines, allaying fears of bandits' attacks. Although Azman Air continued operations along the Kaduna airport route, after the attack, it later suspended flights into the airport about 5 months ago, a situation that has forced passengers on the Kaduna-Lagos route to either land in Kano or in Abuja and travel to Kaduna by road. According to Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, more airlines are expected to resume operations at the Kaduna airport. Police in Borno State have arrested another suspect in connection with the killing of Fatima Alhaji Bukar, who was gruesomely murdered at her residence in Maiduguri, the state capital. The police made this statement known while confirming the arrest of other suspects caught in possession of the victim's mobile phone. From Maiduguri, Bitrus Kurusi tells us more.
The police released the statement this afternoon that it has arrested one prime suspect in connection to the murder of Fatima Alhaji Bukar, who was strangled and murdered at her residence in Gidang Dambe area in Maiduguri. The police also arrested some suspects too. You know, when the incident happened, the deceased phone was missing where the crime took place. So the police were able to trace the phone, and then which led to the arrest of other suspects, 5 suspects. Their names are Ibrahim Mustafa, Osman Yusuf, Mohammed Yunus, Nuhu Mohammed, and Ismaila Mohammed Barka. According to the police, that they were able to recover some exhibits, which include the Infinix Hot 30i, that is the missing phone of the deceased person, and also a photograph of bruises on the fingers of Abacha Bukar. The Abacha Bukar is the prime suspect who killed the deceased. Yes, and if you can recall, the husband of the deceased was also arrested when the incident happened. And as of today, it is going viral that the husband has been released from the police custody, though the police did not disclose that in their statement that they released today. So far, this is the update on the murder case.
In other news, the Chief Magistrate Court 3 sitting in Katsina has ordered the police to produce Batagara Local Council Chairman Bala Garba before the court on Thursday, November 27, over alleged murder. The presiding magistrate Abdul Karim Umar gave the order during the court sitting in Katsina. The council chairman and 11 others were brought before the court over alleged murder of village head of Dabaibayawa, Dikko Ahmad. The accused were charged before the court for alleged criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, abduction, and murder of the village head. The accused were charged under sections 59, 249, and 189 of the Casino Code, Penal Code law. The 11 accused persons were present during the hearing, with the exception of the local council chairman, prompting the magistrate to order the police to produce him on the next adjourned date. Operatives of the Anti-Cultism Squad of Osun Police Command have arrested 13 suspects for alleged secret cult activities. The police say these suspects were arrested in connection with criminal activities leading to disruption of peace across the state. Hamid Oyebade reports.
Upon the distress call by residents of Iresi town in Boluwaduro local government area of Osun State that some notorious hoodlums suspected to be members of unlawful society were terrorizing them, policemen from Otan Ajegbaju Divisional Police Headquarters stormed the location. The policemen called for reinforcement and men of the police anti-cultism team were deployed to the town from Osogbo, the state capital. The team eventually arrested 13 suspects at the scene.
I was at home when some vigilante came to bust my side. Then picked me outside and started asking me about those that had issue. And I was not there, I was not among those that fight, because they told me that some people came to the town and fight. So if I knew anybody among those that fight, and I said I was not around, I don't know people that fight.
Around 11 in the midnight, some people came to my home and back then take me out and asked me to tell them those people that want to fight, which I don't know anything about it, because I heard they went to fight. I don't know anybody, so I was a suspect.
So that night, all these security vigilante people by 2 a.m. just came inside looking for him, and they did not see him. That was why then, because all of us in the compound come out, they start beating me. And they start beating me that night, and they took me along that night and take me to police station that night, and that is how I ended up in this place.
Suddenly, I just saw a man that came to harass me. They asked me to kneel down. I was like, what happened? I came for my results. So before I can notice anything, I just saw the anti-cultist motors that just came in, and they just banged me inside and told me that we are the cultists that they are looking for. And what I came for to school to do is that I came for my result.
Police said the suspect will be arraigned in court after investigation and assured people of Iresi town of their safety.
The DPO Ajegbaju was informed and immediately informed the anti-cultism squad, and they went into action and they were arrested. All of them were arrested. 10 of these cultists were arrested, and they all confessed to have been members of the unlawful society, and they even confessed to many things, many criminal activities that they have engaged in.
Meanwhile, peace has been restored in Iresi town, and residents are going about their lawful businesses unhindered. Hamid Oyebade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
To Benue State now, where the House of Assembly has issued Governor Hyacinth Alia a 72-hour ultimatum to appoint a special advisor on security in the state. The House said this is due to its inability to reach security agencies for a timely response to the 2-hour Otukpo bank robbery. Now, the ultimatum by the state legislature follows a motion by a member representing Otukpo Akpa in the State House of Assembly, Angu Agbo Kennedy, who moved a motion to require hotels and leisure spots across the state to open mandatory ledgers on all guests. The Speaker, Aundona Dajo, while ruling on the prayers, gave the governor a 3-day ultimatum to appoint a security advisor. One of the lawmakers, Godwin Edo, who escaped the Otukpo Bank robbery incident where dynamites were used, lamented his inability to reach out to anyone from the state for lack of substantive security advisor. In a related development, the Nigerian Senate has called on security agencies to probe the Otukpo Bank robbery attack on Friday, which claimed the lives of 8 persons, including 4 police operatives. It also called for a comprehensive report on intelligence gaps that was witnessed by the police in connection to the robbery on the commercial banks in Benue. Following the motion moved by Abba Moro of Benue PDP South, PDP Benue South, the Senate observed a minute silence in honor of the dead victims of the bank robbery incident. Staying in the National Assembly, the Senate on Tuesday resolved to mandate its committees on downstream petroleum to investigate all contracts awarded for the rehabilitation of all state-owned refineries between 2010 and 2023. The lawmakers also plan to ascertain the level of progress on ongoing works in all refineries in order to forestall waste and corruption, as well as interrogate the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bureau of Public Enterprises on the best approach to commercializing or ensuring profitability of state-owned refineries, and invite the NNPCL as well as other stakeholders to explain the nation's preparations for green energy sources in line with the Paris Agreement on climate change. The Senate frowned at what they perceived to be sabotage of federal government's efforts to resuscitate the nation's refineries in spite of 11.35 trillion naira spent on maintenance of the moribund refineries. Now, the recent deal between the Plateau State government and the Nigerian Railway Corporation to revitalize and commence rail transportation services in Plateau State has sparked controversy and outrage in faraway Borno State over ownership of some train coaches. In this report, Dixon Adama gives an overview of the issue at hand. His report is presented from our studio.
The dust is yet to settle over the controversy surrounding the relocation of train coaches from Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to Jos in Plateau State by staff of Nigerian Railway Corporation. Information had it that the coaches were being moved out illegally from the state to unknown destination. It was discovered later that the coaches were moved to Jos, the Plateau State capital, for repairs. The Plateau State government and Nigerian Railway Corporation have agreed to revitalize the railway system since the coaches were not operating in Maiduguri. President General, Nigerian Union of Rail Workers, Innocent Luka Ajiji, speaks further.
You are aware that Plateau State government indicated interest in running our trains within Jos Metropolis. And so in the light of that, we now checked, the management of railway checked and saw that we have 11 coaches in Maiduguri that are not being put to use. And so Maiduguri is nearer for the management to be able to convey the coaches from there to Jos. And so that was done. But the first coach arrived and the remaining 10 are still in Maiduguri. So last week Saturday, when 3 coaches were loaded on a vehicle to be conveyed to Jos, the Borno State governor himself went to the venue, our station, the railway terminal station in Maiduguri, and ordered the security in his convoy to burst the tires of those vehicles, that it is not acceptable for railway to come and carry their train.
Also commenting on the matter, Steve Aluku, Director of Civil Liberties Organizations, called for a peaceful and progressive resolution of the matter, adding that North should make efforts to revive moribund industrial facilities.
Development on the part of the government of Plateau State and the people of Plateau State to have a real network that can help in augment other infrastructural facility that's lacking in the state. But regrettably, the challenge from Zulu and Borno State government needs to be overcome. And I think the structure of the Northern Governors Forum can use other Governors Forum to make midwife an escape route for the government of Plateau State. And I think, ordinarily speaking, it shouldn't be a major challenge. The rail work belongs to the federal government. And since the rail institution is involved, the rail corporation is involved, I don't think it's a problem that cannot be surmounted.
Plateau State Commissioner for Transportation, Jatal Davo Gyang, said the state government entered into agreement with the Nigerian Railway Corporation to revamp the railway system in the state, which is in 3 phases, noting that the deal was with corporation was not intended to be detrimental to any state. On his part, Baba Sheikh Senior, Special Assistant to Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, told Trust Television that Governor Zulum maintained his position that the recent attempt to relocate railway coaches from Borno to other parts of Nigeria was done in suspicion and unfair manner, noting that the state government was not informed until residents intercepted movement of the coaches.
Now, despite Nigeria's soaring food inflation, price of locally processed rice in Taraba is crashing significantly. A few weeks ago, a measure of local rice sold for 1,700 naira in the market, but now it goes for between 800 to 1,100 naira. Areas where price of have dropped significantly include Kunini, Mutumdaya, Gamfetu, Lau, Garbachede, and Kungana. Similarly, the price of paddy rice has gone down significantly across Taraba State. Daily Trust findings show that a 100 kilogram bag of paddy rice previously goes for between 37,000 naira and has now gone down to between 19 to 22,000 naira per bag. Now, rice is cheaper in remote parts of Taraba State than in most grain markets located across some of the major highways in the state. And farmers say the drop in the price of local rice is due to the bumper harvest being witnessed by farmers across the state and an absence of middlemen. They usually buy paddy rice directly from farmers for processing. The Corporate Affairs Commission says 189 fake companies have been used to secure land allocations in Abuja. The Registrar General and Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Hussaini Magaji, says that the discovery was made following a complaint from the Federal Capital Territory Administration to verify the status of a non-existing company seeking land allocation in the FCT. According to him, 2 suspects, including a lawyer, have been apprehended, and a cartel involving staff of Abuja Geographical Information System, lawyers, and the commission have been identified in the ring. Now, explaining their mode of operations, the CAC boss says the cartel exploited the land process to make their applications for land allocation priority over existing applications, aiding land fraud in the capital city. Speaking further on the vision of the commission, the Registrar General promised to increase the Commission's revenue base by sanctioning companies who fail to disclose their annual returns, among other infractions. Now, energy investments in Africa have decreased by 45% since 2014, according to the International Energy Agency's World Energy Outlook, which was published on Tuesday. According to the outlook, after reaching their peak in 2014, energy investments across Africa have significantly decreased by 45%. It maintains that reduced investment in the oil and gas industry are the main cause of this reduction, as energy initiatives find it difficult to obtain sufficient money, although export-oriented oil and gas projects can still draw commercial investments. The IEA reports that obtaining funding for clean energy projects across Africa is significantly difficult. The agency says the comparative lax regulatory frameworks and the unstable financial standing of utilities are causes for concern as they make projects less commercially viable, especially in areas where the clean energy sector is still developing. As a result, borrowing becomes much more expensive, often 2 or 3 times more expensive for enterprises of similar nature in developed countries. Now to developing stories on the international scene. French President Emmanuel Macron on Tuesday proposed a regional and international coalition to fight against terrorist groups during a visit to Israel. Following a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, Macron called for a decisive relaunch of Palestinian peace process. Macron arrived in Tel Aviv on Tuesday morning to meet with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, former Defense Minister Benny Gantz, and main opposition leader Yair Lapid. Macron also met with President of Palestine Mahmoud Abbas in the West Bank city of Ramallah. The death toll in Gaza rose to 5,791, including 2,360 children, according to Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry in a statement released on Tuesday. The Israeli military put the number of total hostages taken by Hamas to 222. The official number of people killed in Hamas attack on October 7 has not been revised since Saturday. It remains at 1,400. Right, for the latest in sports, let's now join Adeni Ajishafe for the latest.
Nigerian Basketball Federation Premier League defending champion Kwara Falcons secure a precious win over Hoops and Reds in a 75-73 game result in the Atlantic Conference playoff from Ibadan Center. The win is the second for the Falcons, who are aiming to return to the continent after their first experience at 2022 Basketball African League in Kigali, Rwanda. In the second game decided in Ibadan, Ondo Raiders defeated Invaders 66-44, while Comet beat Impression 635. Lagos Legends started their quest to reach the final 8 with a win over Delta Force of Asaba 77-58, as Police Beltons had a 53-46 points win over Lagos Raptors in Asaba Center. Abuja Center of Savannah Conference playoff, Kano Pillars scored a 21-point victory over Niger Porters 76-55. Nine University in a slim 72-69 win over Kada Stars in the Kinley contested second game of the day as Custom C of Bauchi net 75-60. And in football, Kano Pillars have been fined 1 million naira by Nigerian Premier Football League following the encroachment of fans during their matchday 4 fixture against Rivers United. Kano Pillars supporters jumped the barriers to the field of play to celebrate their 93rd minute goal at Sani Abacha Stadium. The club have been ordered to pay the fine within 14 days. Failure to comply within the stipulated time will be considered a continuous breach of MPFL framework and rules. In another development, Hadland FC of Owerri were issued a stern warning to curb their supporters' unruly act. MPFL expressed reservations over the behavior of the fans in holding back the players and officials at the stadium after the match, making it difficult for them to exit the stadium premises until the detachment of security operatives arrive as reinforcement. The Owerri-based club was admonished to curb such behavior by organizing orientation workshop for the supporters about their fair play best practices. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Well, that's all the news on Trust TV. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do encourage you to follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more of our contents. You can also visit trusttv.com for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From the rest of the team, thank you for watching the news and good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.